What does it mean to be a good friend to other people? How do you know when you have a good friend? I often think of the Bhagavad Gita, actually, when I think about this question. In the Bhagavad Gita is really just a conversation between two best friends, Krishna and Arjuna. So Arjuna is this prince. It's his job to sort of defend his kingdom. He's about to fight a war to do just that. And then he's got his best friend. They've been best friends for their entire life, and his name is Krishna. Krishna happens to be Arjuna's chariot driver. He also happens to be divine. Spoiler alert. And so during the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asks Krishna to take the chariot that they've got, drive him to the battlefield so he can see the opposing force. And when he gets there, something very human happens with Arjuna. He looks across the field. It's a civil war. That means there's people on the other side that he knows. And what does he see when the chariot stops? He sees his grandfather. He sees his teacher. Imagine if you had to go fight a war and your yoga teacher's on the other side, your mentor's on the other side. So he sees his grandfather, he sees his teacher, his cousins, and he has something very human happen. He puts his head in his hands and he says, I can't do this. I can't do it. And what ensues is a conversation between two good friends. Now, how do we know Krishna is a good friend? Well, Arjuna basically is saying, I know what my job is, but I don't want to go to work. I can't go to work. I don't want to go to work. If you've got a bad friend, right? Somebody who's maybe not looking out for your best interests, how are they going to respond to that? You know what, man? You shouldn't go to work. Yeah, they don't pay you enough. You've already done enough. You could take a day off, right? But if you've got a good friend, sometimes they're going to tell you things you don't necessarily want to hear because it's for your benefit, which is exactly what Krishna does. He says to Arjuna, all right, well, give me all the reasons why you don't want to go to work. And so what ensues is this conversation where Arjuna sort of tells Krishna, here's all the reasons why I don't think I should fight this battle. And like any good friend, Krishna starts to expertly sort of dissect them and say, nope, that's not a good reason. That's not a good reason. Moreover, he starts to talk to Arjuna about, let me give you some thoughts on how I can help you think through this problem. See, that's a good friend. Somebody who not only might tell you what you don't want to hear, but then is going to help you think through some of the problems in your life. Towards the end of the Bhagavad Gita, there's another really human interaction where Arjuna says to Krishna, you know what? I've got it. You've really helped me out. You've dispelled all my doubts. I understand exactly what I have to do now. I know how to think about this in a way that's constructive and going to be helpful to me. And then he puts his head in his hands again and says, but I can't do it. I just can't do it. I can't do it, Krishna. I know what I have to do. We've all been there in our life before, right? I know what I have to do. It's so hard for me to do it. And Krishna looks at Arjuna and says, look, I'll make this really simple for you, okay? Just always think of me. Always think of your best friend, right? You find yourself in this sort of a situation, always think of me. Be devoted to me. Take shelter of me, right? And if you've got a good friend, somebody you want to be devoted to, you want to think well of, you want only the best for. If you've got a good friend, it's somebody that you want to be able to rely on. You can take shelter of, you can call them up when you have a problem. And he says, if you do these things, I'll come to you without fail. I'll find you. I'll help you. And he says, and I promise you all this because you're my very dear friend. You're my best friend. And that was the first time I read that passage, that was such an interesting pivot point in my life. Because I had always thought of a relationship with the divine, God, Allah, Yahweh, you call it whatever you want, your conception of a higher power. I had always thought of that as an authority figure, somebody who's in charge, somebody who tells me what I'm supposed to do. But that concept of a relationship with the divine as a friend, it was a total game changer for me. Because I've been lucky enough to have really good friends in my life. And all the really good friends that I have, what are the things that they want to do for me? They care about me. I can call them when I have a problem. They only wish the best for me. And so this is how we can identify a good friend, those characteristics.